Hello viewers, how are you all? In our today's session on mental health, we will talk about jealousy. 5 ways to overcome jealousy. Jealousy or envy is out and out a negative emotion. We are not always aware how the feeling of jealousy creeps into our mind. Shakespeare called it a green-eyed monster. Indeed, jealousy has the potential to assume monstrous forms in different proportions unless we seriously try to control it or recognize it beforehand. We need not go very far to see the consequences of jealousy. It is very much there around us every day. Scientists say that the flicker of jealousy originates when the child is between 12 to 18 months. The spark appears with the birth of the second new baby. In the form of sibling rivalry, it sparks from the feeling that all attention of parents and others are being shifted from me to the newborn sibling. The first child begins to find fault with the behavior meted out to him or her every now and then by the parents and other elders. The child begins to develop the feeling of being left out, uncared for, and the spark begins to spread out as the world of the child keeps widening. In the case of a single child, it all begins with the attention the child receives from his or her parents and the elders. The excess of attention he or she receives serves to crystallize his or her ego. As the child comes in contact with the neighboring children, he or she begins to compare his or her position with them. Parents too begin to point out what the other children have and their children lack. This comparison leads to a feeling of insecurity in the child, and the child slowly begins to harbor a feeling of jealousy towards his or her peers. Jealousy is an illogical reaction to the feeling of sadness, loss of self-esteem, sense of rivalry, self-criticism, or inferiority complex. The person out there is endowed with something that I miserably lack, is a strong feeling that proves difficult to get over. This helplessness growing from an acute sense of want gives rise to jealousy. Its magnitude depends upon the situation faced by the person. It may be very subtle at times or idiosyncratic. When it crosses all limits, the outcome may be disastrous. Now, jealousy flows in 2 opposite streams. Either you are the target of someone else's jealousy, or you are jealous of someone else. In either eventuality, the mechanism to douse the flame of this negative emotion has to be learned. You have to recognize this feeling and the emotion has to be brought under control with care. When we develop the unwelcome feeling that I am not receiving enough attention and someone else is stealing the show, we express our displeasure and our feeling in various ways. Through hate speech, disparaging comments, ridicule, sarcasm, bantering, pungent remarks, belittling, bitter or uncharitable words. These only serve to expose the speaker's mental atmosphere. When we become targets of someone else's jealousy, we can cope with it in 5 ways. First, we should try to remain as cool and composed as possible and refrain from reacting to such comments. Lives of the famous people may come in handy to this effect. If you look at the famous Indian cricketer Mahendra Singh Dhoni, you can see how much he is criticized in the media, how jealous some of his co-players are about him, the comments they pass about him. But hardly does MS Dhoni react to these comments. He never says anything against all these. He keeps his cool always. What do we learn from this? That we had jealous people around us. At the same time, we have admirers too. There are people who like us for our behavior, for our ability, etc. Now, this knowledge gives us confidence, enough confidence, and it becomes a source of our strength. If we can keep this in mind, it helps us to remain cool even in the moments of our anger and irritation. Secondly, practice taking it all in your stride, on the strength of your understanding that the problem lies absolutely with the other person, not with you. Your silence will gradually frustrate the other person. If you reacted with equal venom, the situation will turn from bad to worse. You will get more and more stressed and sparks will fly. Better let the stress be on the other side of the court. Thirdly, start an inner dialogue with yourself based on the fact that the other person is jealous of some impressive quality in you. So, you are not the target of that person. Your quality is. You can take pleasure and pride out of this fact. To become a target of others' jealousy is to receive importance from others. At the same time, a person who has never been a target of jealousy is of no importance at all. Let me give you a very interesting example. People throw stones at a mango tree only, not to those trees which do not bear fruit. Fourthly, have a broader mindset. Develop a sort of sympathy towards these people who are victims of low self-esteem. We often fail to look at the bigger picture that helps us to see through the hollowness of these habits. Lastly, be at peace with yourself, considering the fact that the jealous person does not get any psychological benefit out of his feeling. Rather, he or she remains mentally disturbed all through, which reduces him or her into an object of pity. Now, the opposite situation crops up where someone else becomes the object of your envy. Now, how to combat such a situation? What will you do to overcome your feeling of envy towards another person? We are going to discuss 5 ways to cope with your own jealousy towards others. First, never try to hide your feelings from yourself, which we all usually do. We refuse to face ourselves. Shrug this habit off. Recognize your malicious feelings with courage and confidence. Accept that you have been jealous. It helps you to ease your seething tension. Secondly, try to reach the source of your jealousy. Try to analyze it. It helps us to look at the issue rationally. I know a school teacher who had faced such a situation and she overcame it in this way. One day in the school, she found a colleague of hers enjoying a lighter moment with the students, a group of students. She felt angry with that colleague of hers, but she couldn't realize why she was feeling angry with that lady. She began soul searching, and after a while, she realized that she was jealous. Why was she jealous? She was jealous. She felt that this lady is not a dutiful teacher, yet she is trying to endear these students. Now, this helped her to recognize her feeling that she was jealous, and she felt embarrassed that she was jealous of her colleague. She got over her feeling of jealousy at last and became at peace with herself. Thirdly, it is necessary to realize that to be jealous is to be mean. If you allow your feeling, your malicious feeling, to go too far, it may be disastrous, it may be counterproductive. So, better take precautions beforehand so that it does not land you in a disaster. Fourthly, when you feel envious of someone else, you should try to shift your focus to discover the qualities you have within yourself. You will come up with gems and jewels within yourself which may not be there in the other person. At the same time, you will try to develop the abilities which you are jealous of. If you can develop this ability, it will give you confidence and self-reliance, a feeling of self-reliance which will keep you far away from the feeling of jealousy. Lastly, one of the best ways to avoid this negative emotion is to engage in self-talk. You can develop a self-talk in this way. I am not a jealous person. I don't envy anyone. I am a good-natured, well-behaved person. I help others. I need others' help at the same time. And it is through this exchange of help that we grow. I do not have any kind of malicious feeling for others. If we can say this 3 to 4 times a day and continue to practice this for at least a month, we can see its magical effect. As a last word, I would say that there is no happiness in harboring jealousy. Rather, it burns out the oil of life too fast. I hope you have enjoyed this video. We'll come up with another interesting topic in our next session. Till then, goodbye.